Welcome to another episode of Roll Call, TTSH Nursing's very own podcast, brought to you by TTSH Nursing Organisation Development. I am Kim once again, and I am very excited for today's episode. Today, we will be discussing about something I'm sure many nurses are curious and passionate about. I realize I always say many. Our nursing workforce and manpower. So our guest for this episode is probably another familiar face to our TTSH nursing community. Join us in welcoming Sister Huang Bo, our Deputy Director of Nursing Workforce here at TTSH.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast, Sister. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
First things first, what does a Deputy Director of Nursing Workforce do?
Okay. Maybe I will walk through that a day, typical day for me as a manpower person. So starting of the day when I wake up, the first thing I will do is I always look at staffing report.
First thing we my God.
Yeah, and the first thing before I go toilet. So, okay, I think this is something very important. We learned through COVID time that every department are running with very minimal nurses and staff. So that is something that at nursing service level, myself also always gatekeep whether the department is running with sufficient nurses, whether the skill mix is okay. And when I come on duty, then I will start with the usual work that manpower will always do, including looking at nurses allocation, transfer, or any staff that needs certain help. For example, in terms of the career development or posting that they're supposed to go for. Yeah, and also, of course, at the strategic level, nursing manpower always looking at how do we make sure the staff can be better developed.
Was there anything in particular during your nursing journey that drew you towards this portfolio? Because manpower and workforce is not a portfolio that I would want to be in charge of.
Yes. Actually, manpower is portfolio is a very challenging portfolio. At myself never imagine one day I can be in charge of workforce because I was just like I'm a ground nurse, started in a general ward. Then I grew to be a nurse clinician first, then transited to a nurse manager. And slowly I was exposed to some nursing service project. And then, of course, later on, I am being tasked to be in charge of the unit, which is unit nurse manager. So along the way, actually, when I built this knowledge and skills, it's more on operational skills, which, deal with the patients and the staff on the ground. But I think through COVID time, I have really opened up my lens of learning or development to manpower, and also I think there's a need of addressing acute issues through search. That's the time that by chance or by the chance of nursing service or by chance of myself, I came to this portfolio. But I really appreciate that opportunity. But at the same time, I feel that it has been really not easy for me.
So through all of this and there's so many different things that you have to manage, right? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you motivated and what drives you?
Yeah, I may say that since young time, my passion is to be a nurse. When in the kindergarten, the teacher asks you, what's your dream job, right? So from the time that I did mention my dream job is to be a nurse. So one day, it came true, and I'm a nurse, and until now I'm a nurse. So from the ground level in the wards, I start to appreciate that actually hospital really develop our ground nurses along the way, based on our interests, based on our aspiration. So I feel that I was motivated as a ground nurse at the time. And later on, when I transit to be a so-called nursing director, I realized that what we are doing, not me alone, maybe including all the nursing directors, we find meanings of what we are doing. That means, when we deliver certain initiative or jobs that we do, we always feel that there's a meaning of it. to either to help the nurses or help our patients. So it's still go back to our core duties to be a nurse.
Okay, so moving on from, I think, your own personal journey and your, the stresses, what you've been through, what keeps you motivated, what is the vision that you have for our nursing workforce?
We always want to achieve the positive environment that we have built, that we have been building actually from the past until now. That's why this is the reason that from nursing service level, we have initiated the flexible work schedule from this year and since last year. And also, of course, through this journey that we want to create a positive environment for the nurses, we know that the well-being and the wellness of the nurse are very important for our workforce development. That is the first thing. Second part is that through the journey of the nurses with this nursing career, how can we better equip our nurses with better knowledge, better skills, and also how can we develop them through their journey? Maybe our nurse, when you see them in the ward, we are just a nurse. But when we are not in the ward, actually we have many other talents, among ourselves to have strengths in different areas. For the nursing workforce is how to make ourselves to be more agile in terms of the care model or even the nurse's role. To be able to adapt, to be more agile in different type of situation. For example, when the situation for search, how can we better function to deliver the same safe care for our patient?
So I'm sure that nursing manpower has definitely been a very hot topic of discussion, not just recently but for many, many years. And many nurses actually shared their grievances with us by anonymous submissions, over social media regarding, things like lack of staff on shift, heavy workload, how the turnover of patients is very fast and very quick. So looking back at the vision for nursing workforce that you just mentioned earlier, are there any plans in place? I think you mentioned just now, and one of the plans that we have in place that nurses can look forward to that will better support us and meet those objectives.
Okay. So of course, flexi work arrangement is really an initiative that to provide more options for our nurses to choose beyond the 3 routine shifts. The primary intent of this flexi work schedule is to provide more options for the nurses to choose rather than the 3 routine shifts. The second intent is also, we all know nurses working in the GW, when come to a stage that we are the carers, we become a young mom or young dad, that's the time that we feel that 3 shifts may not be able to fit our personal needs or care needs at home. We also know the nurses during their shift, they have really sacrificed themselves for not being able to go for break, going home on time. So during this flexi schedule, we did process mapping, and also we also performed time motion studies. So by doing that, we will know that what is the peak time that the ward will need more nurses. And also through this process mapping, patient activity mapping, we also know that if the nurses have saved certain time through this efficiency by reducing the multitasking, then the nurses also can have some time to be out of the primary role, which from the ward, they can also put in certain protected time to at least go for a hybrid role. In the past, when the ward starting of the shift, we are short of staff, either we need to call back our staff to work or we will perform deployment. I think deployment is something that our nurses really, really don't like, or we really hate this deployment. It is because I think, when you go to the ward, you don't feel comfortable, you don't know where to find the items, you are not very familiar with the environment. So we have centrally built this acuity response team. So the staff will be also distributed to the unit that need a rescue. Means in the nursing service level for myself, we will set a threshold. If let's say the staffing number drop to a threshold, then ART staff will come to the ward at least to perform part of the care needs and also be part of the care team. So by doing this, I think firstly we will minimize deployment because deployment really costs unhappiness of the nurses. Building this team, central team, we also would like to advance or develop our ART staff by equipping them with more skills and knowledge. Because when we look at our skills or even the different type of staff within the ART, we know there are RNs, they can be ENs, or they can be HCAs. So how can we ensure this group staff can better function in the ward and also better contribute to the care within the team? Because they can be deployed to a renal ward, which maybe they are not being equipped with a renal skill. So on this aspect, we are trying our best to develop and also build more competencies for them. So this is the second thing I thought that is quite important for our ground staff.
Do you think that these measures are enough to support our nursing workforce? And is there anything else that you feel is important in promoting, recruitment and even more importantly, retention?
So of course, by looking workforce, recruitment and retention are the very key measures. And also we realize that when we come together as a workforce, when we have recruited the nurses and also maybe we have implemented the retention strategy, we need to really look beyond just numbers. We want to look within the team, whether we have a very good teamwork, whether we build a very good culture, whether we want to ensure a very good communication within the team, and also how to gel the team together. That is something that I thought beyond recruitment and retention, we really need to look at the quality of our team.
And I think that perfectly aligns with, this podcast, we say that we are under nursing organization development. And I think now there's just so many initiatives and things for you to look forward to also about how we want to move forward in nursing and how we want to build this strong support culture within. Because there's no point, like what you mentioned earlier, that we pull in so many people, but within the hospital, that culture and that support is not strong. So definitely we don't have enough time to cover everything and go into super a lot of detail, but we hope that gave our nurses, a glimpse of how we hope to move forward. So speaking of moving forward, we actually are going to jump into our Q&A segment. We actually got you guys to send in your questions. Some a bit spicy kind of questions. We hope that we'll be able to give our nurses, good answers. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so the first one, something I'm curious about. Also, not because it's relevant to me, but will MC and PIP, basically PIP is like
performance improvement plan.
Will those affect someone's promotion and appraisal?
Okay.
Yes, that was asked quite a few times.
Okay. I thought it's a very fundamental question that our nurses always care for, right? Okay. I think for a progression or even an appraisal for the nurses, we all need to know that we're always looking at our nurses' competency and contribution. So in terms of competency, we are looking at whether the staff nurse can perform at the staff nurse level, EN can perform at EN level, or ANC can perform at ANC level. So that is the competency. Contribution is about, whether within my primary role or beyond my primary role, whether I contribute more. That is evaluation of the performance. So when the nurse leaders have this evaluation through the appraisal or through promotion, we always look at these two aspects.
Okay.
Whether the PIP actually by term, by just the term of PIP, performance improvement plan, it's not a disciplinary action.
Okay.
It is not something that we want to discipline our nurses.
Okay.
It's to officially, we need to record on certain performance lapses, or even we want our nurses to improve along the way.
Okay.
Yeah, and by just looking at a PIP will not definitely affect appraisal or even a promotion.
Okay.
As long as the gap is being closed, the performance issue has been addressed, and overall, they will still fall back to our nurses' competency and also the evaluation or contribution.
I think our next question is actually something that you brought up earlier in our podcast.
Okay.
Someone asked, too many nurses, too little seniors to guide. Senior nurses are becoming burnt out because on top of taking their own cases, they have to guide new nurses. Then the new nurses don't have time to learn properly also, which is not fair to them, and the seniors always get blamed if the new nurse doesn't really perform well or makes mistakes. Please help.
Please help.
Please help.
Okay. We must help. Okay. Actually, it's a very true scenario that when we recruit many new nurses, maybe now it's 2024, it's at beginning of 2023. We have a very high percentage of new nurses within the system.
Okay.
And also when Manpower at a central level, when we allocate the new nurses into the unit, we need to have a gatekeep of the percentage of the new nurses. And also at the unit level, we always gatekeep the percentage of the new nurses not beyond 40%.
Okay.
Or we need to at least ensure the experienced nurses to at least be able to function at their level to be kept at least 60%.
Okay.
So we did some data. I know Manpower is boring with about data. So yeah, it's important. So we did a data sometime last year when we know that we have a lot of new nurses. In the main block, we did have about 60 to 65% of experienced nurses. And 35% are new nurses, which compared to pre-COVID, definitely this is the highest number.
What was the normal?
The normal, we want to keep at least about 20%.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will realize that by looking at this percentage and number, every shift will have at least two, maybe sometimes maybe one, at least one or two new nurses, and they need a lot of guidance. They are very new and they came from different background. So we truly understand the skills needs can be quite diluted in the unit level. And that is the reason that I think our nursing education department did come to the ground to help into the unit level. Sometimes they also help the ward nursing officers to at least conduct certain trainings or ad hoc quick trainings to at least to build up the competency of these nurses. But at this stage, within the hospital, we have went back to our pre-stage of about 20% of new nurses
At this point
in time. Yeah, that's why I think if you look at the number of new nurses within the ward or within the unit, it is not so bad as last year. But of course, along the way, we really appreciate our nurses to hold the fort, to at least precept. The preceptorship is something that is so important through the journey from last year and until now.
The next question is, can we make part-time nursing more easy to attain and allow nurses to work as much OT as they want? Like following the overseas model where, like staff can, you can kind of arrange your shifts by yourself and all that, so that they can earn however much is good for them.
Oh, okay. Okay, talking about part-time, actually, I'm not sure how do we really actualize this at unit level.
Okay.
Part-time is one of the choice for the nurses. And if let's say within the unit, if the nurses have these needs, actually our nurses can raise
Okay.
their requests through their nursing officers or even through the unit nursing officers. If let's say there's a quota, for example, in the ward, sometimes you can have many staff request part-time.
Yeah.
Maybe the operational needs cannot be met, or the coverage issue is coverage is an issue.
Yeah.
Actually, that at nursing service level, we always can look beyond the units.
Okay.
Within maybe, if let's say one ward we cannot afford to offer maybe more than certain number of part-time, we can look within the 4 wards. If let's say, for example, if 4 wards cannot cater for the number of the staff requests for part-time, we can also look beyond the units.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel that as long as the communication between our nurses and the NOs are there, and also of course at nursing service level, the ground staff also can approach that, and if they think there's a need, then we can also try our best to meet these requests for our nurses. And also of course for OT, I know
Very hardworking.
Yeah, very hardworking. During COVID time, we did initiated some OT, extra shift. We call extra shift during COVID time. Of course, under MOM rule, there will be a rule for the nurses at least must have 1 rest day a week. So we must comply with that. But if let's say for OT, in the inpatient area, of course, there must be a situation that really need this unit OT. And also, of course, during that shift, there must be assessment of the situation by the nurse leaders to say that, okay, because of today, I have many results, I have ad hoc outings, I need the nurse to, to help with this activity. So then the nursing officer made a decision to at least to approve this OT. Of course, if any nurses want to contribute their extra shift by doing OT, they can come to ART. The ART.
Okay.
The ART, because ART is we have very flexi model.
Okay.
We provide option flexi hours to our nurses. Second thing is that if a nurse want to work beyond their own unit, and also they want to at least contribute a extra shift within the week, they can approach us, and we welcome for that OT, so-called.
In the earlier question, you mentioned that, if you have any needs or, like you want to do part-time, you can bring it up to your NOs.
Yeah.
So, not just answering the part-time thing, but maybe, all the questions that we mentioned earlier. Is there any way to escalate any grievances that I might have or that our ground nurses have if they don't feel comfortable sharing or asking their immediate nursing officers?
Okay. There is always an official platform for whistleblower. Of course, whistleblower. Okay. Of course, I thought that if the nurses feel uncomfortable to raise issues to your own nursing officer, nursing service manpower team is also a choice.
Okay.
When you feel that by looking beyond within the units, any other measures within the hospital can better help our nurses, rather than before we escalate to whistleblower platform. Whistleblower platform is a platform that is more on linked to HR, or even is a vendor that can help us to collate all this feedback and send back to the hospital. But I thought within nursing, there's helpline. There are helpline of nursing manpower, and there are helpline also maybe there's various mentors. Within the hospital, our leaders or even chief nurse make ourselves to be very open to receive any feedback. So if beyond the nursing officer, the nurses can come to nursing service or even manpower team or any of the nurse leaders with nursing service. Or if let's say this nurse feel that, okay, I need to escalate beyond, there is also a hospital HR.
Okay.
So they can raise the concern to HR. But HR will also closely work with nursing service to address the issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So the key message is be open. At least you know that there will be help within the hospital. Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think, linking back to our mental health episode that we had at the start, I think a lot of nurses are very scared to bring up these kind of things because of the repercussions that they worry that they might face. Is it anonymous? Will they tell who and all that kind of stuff? But I think if you really feel stuck or you really feel trapped, it's perfectly fine to reach out for help and step out of that comfort zone of yours and really reach out and seek help. Be involved and take part in like different activities or like CCAs that you have outside of your ward. Make those kind of connections, those kind of friends where you will meet amazing, I've experienced this for myself, amazing bosses, amazing colleagues that you can share these grievances with, that can also give you advice on how to move forward as well.
Actually, the psychological safety is very important. Like you feel safe to raise issues, not say beyond the hospital. Within the hospital, there's various platforms that you can go for. Yeah.
Can DM me as well, man. See how we can help you. Okay, so I think everything I'm not sure whether it was like very intense. All the questions are quite intense. I think the episode is quite intense. So I think we wanted to end with a fun, light-hearted question. Okay, so if you could have any superpower in the world that you could summon for your role or your job, or even outside of your role, if you want any superpower, what might that be and why?
I thought if I have, I will be a better person for my role as a mom, as a wife, as maybe a Manpower staff that in charge of this. Because I feel that with this portfolio since COVID time until now, I struggle a lot. The struggle is between the personal role. I feel that I somehow neglected my husband and my son along the way. I go home sometimes that, have very minimal communication with them.
Don't talk to me. I just want to lie down.
Or, I realize that even within the house, my son start to text me instead of come to me and talk, So if I have superpower, I rather to have the power to balance all these rules very well.
Wow.
I feel that I never regret to spend so much time for my work, of course, for my role. And especially I see, the workforce has been progressing and also start to have a lot of meanings. I feel so satisfied with that. And I never regret that I put in so much effort, time, or personal time. But if I have this superpower, I also want to have a good balance of the roles. I want to spend more time maybe with my parents. They are quite old already. And also I want to spend time with my family. And also if I could do better for workforce, I did tell Sienna that my aspiration for next year, I want to go for a workforce course for myself. I have no time, to really develop myself. I want to develop myself to do my job better. Not just, like since COVID time, we are like fighting a war until transit to this time. So that's my dream. That's my dream.
Thank you so much for all your sharing. And Sally, with that, we have come to the end of this episode of Roll Call. Thank you, Sister Huang Bo, once again for being on this episode. So remember, you can also check out our podcast on Spotify and follow us at Nurses of TTSH on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever. Okay? And do give our channel a follow, hit the bell to get a notification every time we post a new episode as well. And of course, as always, give this video some love by pressing the like button, commenting and sharing it on all your social media platforms. And for more updates and opportunities, also, like what I said, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Nurses of TTSH. And if you have any future topic suggestions or anyone you'd like us to feature, or if you even want to join the team, drop us a DM as well. With that, have a great shift, everyone. Thank you for watching this episode of Roll Call. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.